Welcome back everyone. We're only about a week away from training camp at this point, and I think we can all agree that one of the most highly anticipated Laker debuts happens to be Christian Wood. And whether you're optimistic or pessimistic about him, I feel like everybody is pretty interested to watch how it will play out. There is absolutely no denying the talent here, it's all about making it fit within their team. And not only from an on-court standpoint, but from an off-the-court one as well. We all know about the problems that Christian Wood has had on prior teams, and now he'll need to prove that they're nothing to worry about. Now, we'll definitely find out more about that during training camp, but he did give us something to talk about during a recent interview. In fact, he talked about a number of topics that we've been wanting to hear about, and we're going to unpack all of it during today's video. But real quick, before we get into it, I would genuinely appreciate it if you could take a brief moment to drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and hit that notification bell to never miss out when I upload a video. Without wasting any more time here though, let's dive right into it. And the first thing that Christian Wood talked about happened to be his familiarity with the team along with the city of LA.
It feels amazing. It's a dream come true, lifelong dream come true. I've been watching this team, since I was a child. So it's amazing to be here, and the atmosphere in the gym is great.
What's the reaction been like, just with fans or even like your friends and family and the people around you?
Oh, it's all love. Everybody's been showing me love. Ever since I got here, the guys have been showing me love. They're pumped and excited for what we could do next season. The fans, it's been great. It's LA fans, so it's a little different, but I love it. It's my hometown.
I know you have some familiarity with Darvin.
Yes.
From your time in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
How much did that play into it, and what kind of conversations have you guys had?
He called me every day in free agency. I can say that now. Believe it or not, we have a good relationship, and I think that was really a big thing for me, just having that communication with the coach, so where you could just talk personable, and he's a player's coach as well. So just having that on my side is great, and him, believing in me and trusting what I could do with my abilities is great.
I think the truly noteworthy part here is how connected he and Darvin Ham have already been. I mean, it's never a bad thing when a player and coach are in constant communication, but it really goes far beyond that alone. It might not have been for very long, but Christian Wood did spend time with Darvin Ham back in Milwaukee. Now, we're only talking about 13 games here, but that obviously was enough for him to leave a good impression on Darvin Ham. In addition to that, it likely means that he's somewhat familiar with Darvin Ham's system. He pretty much adopted the Mike Budenholzer offense from his time in Milwaukee, and Christian Wood at least spent a little bit of time within it. However, the truly important part here is that they appear to be on the same page, and I imagine that it doesn't hurt that Darvin Ham likely made Christian Wood feel wanted. Now, he did have to take a minimum level contract from them, but they quite obviously made him feel like a priority. I mean, say what you want about Darvin Ham, but the guy definitely knows how to connect with his team. We have heard nothing but good things about him from the guys who played for him, and that appears to be the case again with Christian Wood. The fact that Christian Wood outright referred to him as a player's coach really tells you a lot about him. Darvin Ham is a coach that guys are comfortable being around. He's more inviting rather than intimidating. And while there definitely is a time and place for both, that very likely helped them pick up Christian Wood. He talked about the trust that Darvin Ham has in him, and that's something that every player wants from their head coach. In my opinion, that's the foundation of being a good head coach. Being able to build trustworthy relationships will tend to be something that goes overlooked, but it definitely is needed to build a connected group. And I think that showed throughout late last season too. Despite putting together practically a brand new team in mid-February, they were able to build team chemistry very quickly, and that led to them making a very deep playoff run to the surprise of many. You can have all the talent in the world on your team, but it won't matter if they're not connected. And to me, that's the most important job for a head coach, which often goes overlooked. But in addition to spending time with Darvin Ham, Christian Wood spent time with Anthony Davis during that same year. Following the Milwaukee Bucks letting him go after only 13 games during the 2018-2019 NBA season, he eventually got picked up by the New Orleans Pelicans, where he then became teammates with Anthony Davis. And although that did not last very long either, Christian Wood has talked time and time again about their friendship, along with the similarities between them, and he talked about how he envisions them working together this season.
How do you envision, I'm sure you're going to be asked this a lot come training camp, how do you envision playing alongside AD or just at the 5 by yourself?
Whatever works, whatever the team needs, you know, I'm here to do. I think, you know, me and him together will be a crazy pairing. I mentioned a bunch of times before, Anthony Davis has been my favorite player to watch. He's always been my favorite player to watch. So a guy I've studied and know his game. I think we have a lot of similarities, so I think it'll be great.
I think the big takeaway here is that he obviously plans to play with Anthony Davis on the court, or in other words, create a two big lineup with him within their rotation. And while I think we're all expecting that to some degree, there has been a lot of debate about how much and how often we'll see that kind of lineup from them. Some people believe they should make it their starting lineup, while others believe they should outright avoid it. I, for one, happen to be more so in the middle of it. I don't believe they should include Christian Wood in their starting lineup, but I'm not against him playing with either Anthony Davis or even Jackson Hayes coming off their bench. I definitely do think it can work, but it's all about the players they put around them. For example, it would not really work defensively with both him and LeBron James on the court together. That would force Christian Wood to be more of a rim protector, while forcing LeBron to be more of a primary wing defender, neither of which they can do for long durations. And although the inclusion of a defensive anchor like Anthony Davis on the court with them would obviously help, it would be much more beneficial with only one of them on the court, meaning that when LeBron goes to the bench, that should be when Christian Wood enters the game for them. At that point, I'm all for a two-big lineup, with them instead having a guy like Taurean Prince or Jared Vanderbilt at small forward. That would mitigate the issues that come on defense. Now, don't get me wrong here, because I know some people definitely will. LeBron still can defend the wing for short durations, but it's not a good idea to have him do that for anything more than late game moments, which is what he would have to do when playing in a two-big lineup. And I'm really not a big fan of those two playing together without Anthony Davis on the court either. Even with a guy like Vanderbilt in that lineup with them, the rim protection would be pretty bad to say the least. I think it will be really interesting to watch how they utilize Christian Wood and what lineup combinations they put around him. In my opinion, that will be the key for them to get the most out of him. Finally though, Christian Wood talked about underrated parts of his game, and I think he caught people off guard with what he mentioned.
What's the most underrated part of your game in your eyes?
Underrated, I would say my ability to pass out the pick and roll. I think I've developed and got better with that, especially last year playing with Luka and the gravity that he pulled with the double teams and leaving me open in the mid post to be able to make the pass to those corner guys. So I think that's a really underrated part of my game.
I mean, I for one definitely would not have thought he'd mention his passing ability here. I know we tend to focus a bit too much on numbers at times, but they would tell you that Christian Wood is not a very effective passer. If we take a look at per 36-minute average, he's put up only 2.5 assists per game to 2.3 turnovers per game. Nothing really to write home about here, and it definitely would not be something that comes to mind when talking about his game. However, you really cannot point out a connected passer when looking at the numbers. I mean, you kind of can with secondary assists per game and potential assists per game, where he put up 0.3 and 3.1 per game respectively, but it's hard to factor into being a good passer, and I would agree that he got better during his time playing with Luka Doncic. And now with him joining a team with a somewhat similar offensive player in LeBron James, that could benefit their entire offense. Though it's really not about LeBron or Luka Doncic here. Having that ability can benefit any team that runs a lot of pick and roll plays, which is pretty much every team nowadays. But to wrap everything up here though, I think the Christian Wood experiment is off to a good start. Again, we have not even reached training camp yet, but they do appear to be heading in the right direction. With all of that being said though, what do you guys think? How do you feel about the outlook for Christian Wood with the Lakers? And did anything he talked about here change your opinion? Comment your thoughts down below. That will do it for this video though. Big thank you to those of you who took the time to watch until the end of this video, and until the end of all of my videos in general. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, be sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and turn on notifications to get notified right away when I drop a new video. But as always, thank you for watching and have a great day.